Hey everyone, I'm Jason Peacock, and this is Jason Talks About Games. Just a weekly-ish vlog where I'm rambling about the latest games I've been playing and maybe talk about some gaming news that I find interesting or exciting. So, let me start with the GAMA trade show going on. This is a show in Las Vegas that is for people in the industry. This is where they go and they show off their new games that are coming up. And the Dice Tower is out there. They're filming 8 hours a day, interviewing every single publisher coming by. Now, I haven't watched much of it. They will be releasing each individual publisher in its own little video, so I'm probably going to wait for that. But I'll keep you guys updated with what I find interesting that's coming out this year. One exciting bit of news came from Cool Mini or Not. They announced a Game of Thrones tabletop miniatures game. This is not a board game per se. This is like armies in trays on a table. And I think it's their answer to Fantasy Flight's newest tabletop miniature game, Rune Wars. And this is where you're going to be able to customize any of the armies from Game of Thrones, the Lannisters, the Starks, the White Walkers. There's probably going to be the dragons and the Dakrothi. Ignacy Trzewiczek is showing off a game I haven't heard anything about up until now. It's called Detective. I'm not really sure what this game is about, but I'm thinking it's probably in the vein of Sherlock Holmes Consulting Detective, where you've got to read through the clues and solve a mystery. And I'm just taking a wild guess here, but it's probably going to be one of those games where once you've completed it, it's done kind of games. So anything Ignacy Trzewiczek from Portal Game puts out, I'm very excited about. Okay, so let's get into what I've been playing. Okay, I have been getting The Others to the table with my brother a couple of times. This is a horror-themed game by Eric Lang, one of the industry's leading game designers. Now, this game is a one versus many. One guy is the Overlord, and he controls an army of demons, represented as one of the 7 sins. There's 7 different armies. The heroes have a band of 7 dudes. There's different types. There's your bruisers, your leader, your gunners, and your fixers. The heroes are going to have a team of 7 heroes, and they're going to have 3 or 4 on the board at a time, depending on the number of players. The Overlord's job is to kill the heroes until they don't have a guy to field a full team. Now, there's different stories of this game. You've got your redemption story, where you're trying to save innocent people before the sins engulfs you. There's the straight up combat one, where it's pretty much just straightforward run and gun missions. And then they have corruption stories, where the heroes will have this secret backstory that reveals when they max out on corruption. This is a mechanic that offers up something new to this type of game. The heroes are able to gain benefits based on willingly taking corruption. They can also unwillingly take corruption, but if you max out your corruption, it gets converted into wounds. And if you get a maximum corruption in this corruption story, that's when you reveal your evil dark deed, and that messes with the other players. Now, there's a lot of dice rolling in this game, and the game can go really quick, but you have to be on the spot with the dice. Because as soon as the heroes move into a zone or out of a zone with harmful tokens, you roll to see if they're going to take any damage. So the Overlord has to be Johnny on the spot with the dice. Combat, there's a handful of dice being rolled, but it all is really streamlined, and it plays smooth. And almost every game I've played comes down to the wire. The first part of the game, the heroes just feel overwhelmed. They're dropping like flies. And they somehow manage to overcome these great odds that are against them. I've been playing with my brother. We've been having some great games. I've been the overlord every time against him. I'm looking forward to switching things up. The game has amazing miniatures. I've got everything for this game, all the Kickstarter stuff, all painted. It took quite a long time, but it's so nice to get a game like this to the table regularly when you put all that time into painting it up. So the others, I love it. It's one of my favorite games from last year. It's super thematic. Moving on to the next game. All right. Speaking of my brother, he brought over Walking Dead All Out War. It's a miniatures game. The unique thing about this is it's survivor group versus the zombies. So the two groups are fighting each other, but the zombies are moving towards gunfire and noise. So in addition to fighting each other, you've got this third threat to worry about, and that is a really interesting dynamic. Now, when my brother brought it over, he wasn't super familiar with the rules, so we were kind of reading as we were going. Not how I really like to do things. I like to be prepared. And he had all of these cool building mods you can add, so I can't say a lot about it right now. We're going to play again very soon with a stripped down version. We're just going to play with the base flat mat with some cars and stuff like that, and then I'll really give you my thoughts on that one. But very interested in it right now, and I love that player versus the environment dynamic. You don't see that too often, if at all. Okay, moving right along. Conan, one of my all-time favorites. It's a top 5 game for me. I got everything painted for the first scenario with the giant snake, the picked village. And again, my brother came over. We played Conan. We loved it. It's just so cinematic. It's like playing through a movie. We got together the next weekend and we had a rematch. Same scenario. Again, I'm the overlord and he was all the heroes. I'm hoping to switch that up soon. But here's what I'm excited about Conan. It was all set up on the table, and I asked my son, I said, hey, it's all set up, so do you want to play? He's tried a mission before, and he was pretty meh about it. But he had so much fun, the next night he asked if we could play again. So, man, the fact that my son, who's 8, is asking me to play this game is awesome, because I probably play games with him more than anyone else. So, very excited about that. It is another one of these Overlord-type games. One player controls the bad guys, and the other player or players controls these heroes. And it's got the most amazing combat system I've ever seen in a game. You've got these gems, which represent your hit points and what you can do with your actions. So, say you have 11 gems. On your turn, you can take your gems and you can put them into your different action slots, like attacking, ranged attack. You can throw an item at a friend and he can spend a gem to catch it. You can also interact everybody's action. There's no set turnover. Like Conan can do a couple of things and then the thief can do something and then Conan can go back to spending gems. The heroes just get to do whatever they want with their gems until they feel like they're done. And then the Overlord gets to activate 2 tiles, which represent units on the board. And he'll spend gems based on where the tile is on the river. So as you use a tile, just say up near the front, they cost 1. So once you use it, you move it back towards the end again. If you want to use it again, it's going to cost you 8. So you can use something twice and do a big attack, but it's very expensive. So generally you want to try and use the tiles up front. You use 2 of those, and then they can move and attack. They're a little bit more basic to control. They don't have as many options. But the scenarios are designed and balanced to a T. Like, the scenario will tell you what items are available when you go into the chest. It'll tell you which heroes you should start with, what items they should have, where all the bad guys start, where your tiles are. It lays everything out. And the company is constantly releasing new scenarios. So I've probably got like 20, 25 scenarios to play through. The expansions are getting delivered next month from the Kickstarter, so there's just tons of content, and it's very replayable because just that first mission with the Pick Village, I've already played it 5 times, and I could easily play that another 5 times. Conan's just an awesome game. And like I said last week, this company is using this game system and they're launching a Batman Kickstarter. Next game. Okay, so my wife and I have been having dinner parties with some gaming with a couple of friends of ours. And it's been awesome. We've been playing Blood Rage. We played a couple of weeks in a row. Haven't played this game with anybody that hasn't loved this game, so Blood Rage, it's my #1 game. I love it. It's the drafting and the higher-end monsters, how streamlined it is. It's phenomenally fun. For those of you who don't know, Blood Rage, you have a clan and you have an army. It's a dudes on the map type game. You are either recruiting guys, like you're either upgrading your clan on your turn, and you're doing this by spending your rage. Rage is something that can be increased throughout the game. You are fighting other guys, you're recruiting monsters, you're upgrading your clan, like giving yourself special abilities. It's a dudes on the map area control game, but it's really a drafting game. You start each of the 3 ages out by drafting cards from a deck, and these are like different monsters you can have in your army, different special abilities that can totally define how your strategy is. It's an amazing game. It looks beautiful. The miniatures are incredible. It's the perfect play length. Can't get enough of this game. I've probably played it close to 20 times now with several different groups. But anyways, we had another one just this past Tuesday. We were gonna play Dead of Winter, and we thought, hey, let's just keep it light tonight. So we tried out some party games. We played Insider a few times. It's like 20 questions meets the Resistance. It's interesting. But what I really want to talk about is Codenames. Now, this game was all of the rage last year. Most of you have probably heard about Codenames, but if you haven't, it's a very simple concept. You've got a stack of different words on it, and they're set up in a 5x5 grid. 2 people from one team represent the Spy Masters or the Code Masters. They're going to have a little grid in front of them that represents the words that are laid out. If I'm the red team, that grid will show all the different red card words that are supposed to correspond to me. They'll be highlighted in red. I have to make my teammate or teammates pick those red cards with a clue. There's also one black card. If someone picks that card, then it's the assassin. Then they immediately lose. The game plays anywhere between 10 and 20 minutes. You simply give your partner or partners a word. It plays best with 4, 2 teams of 2, and you say number afterwards. Now, that sounds like it doesn't work. Like, why is that fun? But the trick is to link more than one word together so your partner can guess a couple of them, because you want to get all of your cards revealed first to win. My wife was always pretty meh with this every time we busted it out, but she finally seen the brilliance of this game, and she fell in love with it. So we're going to be playing a lot more Codenames, and I'm happy. I've always liked this game. Having my wife on board asking to play means it's going to get played significantly more. We probably played 10 to 15 games. We ended up playing a game of Codename Pictures at the end. Same thing with Pictures, but it's a hobby board game, but it has sold so many units. It's gotten so popular. It's being sold at Target. So for anyone that's not really a gamer or just thinking about getting in, this $15, $20 game is the perfect game to start your collection with. It's accessible, you can play with anyone, and it is perfect for having another couple over and playing a game. So let me just try and explain why this game is fun. So you've got a 5x5 grid out there, and you've got like tree is one word and bark is another word, right? They both happen to be red words. So I might say something to my partner like, forest, 2. So my partner would be like, okay, well, tree, definitely, he'll tap that. Right, so I'll put my red colored spy over. That's one more that we've done. And then he'll look, he'll be like, oh, insect, because there's insects in the forest. Oh, that was one of my partner's cards. See, I didn't look at my clue, maybe giving him another one of my partner's words. It's a really brain-burning game, and like, it's not the kind of game where you're sitting around chatting away the whole time, because when this game is going on, you're just hyper-focused. You're studying the map. You're like, okay, how can I give a clue to link 2 or even 3 words together? If you can link, it's so you can just keep doing one word, but soon as your team gets ahead of you, then the pressure's on to figure out a way to link a couple of words together with simply one word and a number which represents how many of these words are represented by your clue. You can also take a Hail Mary. You're always allowed one extra guess past the number that you're given. So maybe you're remembering a clue from an earlier round and you can use the Hail Mary for that. I've got several more games I can be talking about, but I want to keep these things a lot shorter than I have been, so I'm going to end it now, and I'll see you real soon. I'm probably going to film another one of these right away so I can release a couple of them. Thanks for watching, everyone. I really appreciate everyone. If you like what I'm doing, hit that like button. If you're new, hit that subscribe button, and I'll see you soon.